Hey guys, I gotta share with you some random monsters I came up with. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? First off, we got the Persitentical plant. Alright, this is basically like a specialized tentacle ivy that, wraps around people and, infects them and turns them into a half plant monster with, like, a whipping, with, like, with, like, tentacle ivy that, has, like, stingers on it that, like, injects seeds into people. Oh, man. Yeah, alright now. If I were making a story about it, I'd probably, have Valerie and, leave some of those because, she's like an alien from, the man-eating planet. Yes, there's a, large planet that's basically, a giant infected man-eating plant that, goes around eating other planets. And also it's run by, a bunch of man-eating plant aliens. Yeah, it didn't used to be, man-eating plant world. Basically it used to have a bunch of peaceful plant spirits, but the man-eating plants kind of took over. All because the scientist was feeling extra horny. Anyway, next idea. All right, we have the stray sod. All right, this guy is like a bruiser that looks like that looks like a humanoid clump of dirt, covered in some grass and all that. Basically, he's like a fairy. Basically, it's like a fairy that is basically based on stray sods, and he kind of acts like a lout in a sod. Not a very good person now. Not yeah, kind of a bully, really. All right, we got the soldier. We got the soldered soldier ant. Yeah. All right, this is just basically a giant mechanical ant that was that basically is a walking war crime, in the shape of a giant metal ant. Yeah, all right now. Yeah, imagine it. All right now, maybe Doctor Blackfly would make something like that. Yeah. All right now, I'll explain. All right now, Doctor Blackfly, he's like a mad scientist who has a thing for bugs and chimeras and all that. So yeah, he could probably make it. Right now, topsy turvy top Tom. Right, this guy is just an upside down guy, that has like a top and he like spins around. All right, yeah. And he looks like an Eldritch, Stark White and Gold Bane. Yeah, he's like from some sort of Eldritch. It's like some sort of Eldritch dimension that's ruled by Yaldabaoth. All right now. And Yaldabaoth's not a good guy now. Yeah, he's basically like the impossible. He's basically like a thing that fancies itself greater than the gods of creation and tries to supplant her, and is prone to pretending that they're other gods. Oh well, I'm not really explaining the top, aren't I? Yeah. This one goes topsy turvy and has upside down and reverse ideology. Yeah. Contrarian, really. Anyway. Copper centipede. Alright, this is basically a giant centipede that's, made up of a whole bunch of, flaming red hot scents. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not really sure what to do with it, but it's got really high toxic, stinging. Wait, scorpion, centipedes technically sting. They don't really bite you. Although I guess you could say they bite. Yeah, they kind of stab you. They kind of stab you and inject you with venom. And this one might go with molten copper. Yeah. Maybe it might even turn you into copper. All right, next up we got the skeleton gambler. All right, this guy, I'm gonna imagine him like some sort of rich dude who's like all decked out in bling. And he's like a skeleton that that kind of got into kind of died with a bad gambling habit. That ended up getting him into a lot of trouble and getting him killed. But he still can't give up gambling even after death, and now he gambles with lives. All right now we got the Torn Territoy. All right, this thing is basically a large pink torn teddy bear that became possessed by an evil spirit. It's basically a discarded object spirit that it's basically a discarded object that became possessed and became one of the neglected, which is a type of hostile object spirit. It's basically being unloved. Alright, a bit like Mary Sam, but a teddy bear. Alright, we got Patricia Plastique. Alright, this female villain has the ability to basically manipulate plastic. Yeah, and her outfit, kind of looks like a white plastic, it's kind of modeled after white plastic. She even absorbs plastic to make it even stronger. Yeah, like maybe she can manipulate plastic but can't actually create it, and like compresses it into herself and compresses plastic into herself. It's a bit like the gold manipulation power in One Piece. Yeah. Yeah, that one, was pretty cool, yeah. Alright, Flame Pants Incubus. Yeah, he's got like on red hot flame pants that look like Malphite's boots, and shit, what was it? Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, or they could look like or they could look like a bit like Flame Pants from the '90s, yeah. Maybe they're like hot, biker pants. I don't know. Would look cool for them, yeah. Alright, next we got the Fiend Huntress. Alright, this sexy, fiendish huntress, is technically not a huntress of fiends, but, is a fiend who is a huntress of men. Alright, maybe she even uses a rifle to, do it, yeah. Or maybe she can use a riding crop because, that'd be, super sexy and all that. Or maybe she's a human that, got demonic blood and, is a Cambodian or something, yeah. Yeah, that would be pretty cool, yeah. Alright, now. Yeah, Cambodians are basically what you get when you humans and succubite breed, yeah. Alright, yeah. Alright, now. We got the Snake Eyes Cyclops, yeah. Alright, it's just a guy that, has a giant dice for a head, yeah. And the dice, is set, and on their faces, set to the snake eye, yeah. He like throws exploding die, yeah. Or maybe his outfit maybe he has like an outfit that's modeled after die, and has the ability to manipulate dice. Alright, now. Alright, now, Fiendish Dominator. Alright, this one I'm gonna make, more insect-like to, go with the, more like an insect-like, succubus to go with, more of a, hypnotic pheromone kind of thing. I think, yeah. Sort of like the Exxon type body, Lilithmon a little bit. Alright, now. Anyway, we got the Brainwasher. It looks like a washer robot that has a brain inside of it that is the brain of a mad scientist, and basically it uses psychic powers to wash people's brains. Yeah, quite literally. Oh no. Alright, now we got the stomach bugs. Alright, this thing looks like a rotten, undead humanoid that basically has, two, like, giant stomach worm, like, stomach insect monsters that, come out of their stomach. They're like, sentient, control it and move it about, all that, again, naturally and all that. And of course, they also have a taste for flesh. Isn't that great? Alright, now, that was all. Alright, now. Hold on. Alright, now. Give me just a minute. Alright, now. Oh, yeah. I also came up with... I also have another one, yeah. Slime Mancers. This is a class of being known for their ability to, manipulate slime as well as slime family monsters, which they have the unique ability to tame and help evolve into stronger forms. Yeah, and yeah. Yeah, being able to manipulate and shoot out slime, doesn't sound like much of a power, but trust me, depending on the kind of slime it is, it could be very terrifying. Some slimes are, highly acidic or, burn. Yeah. Slime's basically being, living stomach acid is a common thing I've seen, and quite a lot of things. Anyway, alright now. That's pretty good, yeah. Anyway, alright now. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to like and subscribe and give your name. And don't forget to fly like button, trade like the wind, for we are stuff dreams are made of. Bye bye now. Bye bye.